Good morning. I'm Dr. Sharon Huner, and this is the introduction to Week 5 of NGC 502, Applied Informatics to Evaluate Healthcare Outcomes. This week is the last week in Module 1, and I'm sure that you all know that today we will be opening up the quiz number 1 for at 6 a.m. on Thursday, which is day 1 of the week, and this will be open until 11:59 p.m. today. As we've mentioned before, the quiz is open book, open notes, and you will be able to take the quiz up to 5 times. You need to work alone on this, but I expect that you should have no major problem with it. It's 24 multiple choice questions, and if you are having any difficulty with the quiz, you should contact Deb Zielinski, who will be able to make sure that you get access to that. Now, the new content this week is looking at the details about the Informatics Project Part 1. This is not due until the end of Week 6, which is March 9th. So you have 2 weeks to work on this. It's a short paper, about 5 pages in length, and you have you need to talk about the topic that you've chosen, why it's significant. You need to specifically describe the problem that you have observed in your practice. It's really hard to come up with an informatics solution that you haven't actually experienced. So projecting this to your future job is probably not where you want to go. Then you need to talk about possible informatics solutions to improve the problem. And finally, come up with a purpose statement. There's a rubric that is used to grade this. And I do ask that all students, in addition to submitting their paper in UB Learns, also provide me with a paper copy. If you are coming on campus, I appreciate it if you are able to print it yourself and drop it off at my office or leave it with Deb Zielinski in the 3rd floor office. If you are not coming to campus for any reason, you may ask Deb Zielinski to print a copy for you. You need to submit it both into UB Learns and also to send her an email requesting that she print that up for you. And then finally, what I will do is I will start grading with the first paper that I receive in hard copy, and I will grade all of the hard copy papers first, and then go on to print up the ones that are in UB Learns that I have not gotten in a hard copy. So it's to your advantage to get your hard copies into me as soon as you can so that you can get your feedback as soon as possible. You need this feedback in order to go on to Part 2, because I may let you know that I don't think that the way that you've defined your problem is going to really work, and you need to incorporate the feedback that I give you into your assignment, your Informatics Project Part 2 and 3, actually. So it's very important that you do get that in as soon as possible. Now, there is a lecture about this, and there is a rubric, which is also in the new content folder, and there is also a link to the assignment, which is visible either in Week 5 or in the Assignments tab, and I'll probably put another link in Week 6 so that as we move into the next module, you'll also be able to get access directly through that week. Okay, the application of new material is actually a couple of guest lectures. You should choose one of them and listen to it depending on your future practice sites. One is Primary Care, as a lecture given by Barb Johnson, and the other is about implementing an electronic health record in an operating room environment, and that's given by former student Gary Wayner. Both are really interesting. They have a lot of detail in them, but I think it's going to be really helpful for you to get some ideas of exactly how complicated it is and what are some of the issues, because it's highly likely that you will in your future practice need to be involved in some decisions about electronic health records. So I encourage you to listen to one of those. The reading for next week is Chapter 8 in the Mastrian and McGonigal textbook. It's a single chapter, and hopefully for most of the weeks that follow, there will be a little bit less reading. We try to have more reading at the very beginning of the semester when you're not as involved in your projects, so it'll start to taper off a little bit, but there'll always be some reading for the next week. And I'd like to now just give you a little bit of feedback on the informatics project, the informatics exercise number 2, which was your group project, looking at coming up with the population, coming up with a sample of people that matches the population of either Medicare, Medicaid, or commercially insured people. So it was a group assignment for all of the groups. I took account for people who did not participate, and they would have gotten a 0 for that assignment. But as long as I could tell that people had participated in the process, everybody in the group got the same score. Overall, I tend to grade this a little bit easier than individual assignments, just because I don't want to really discourage people from the collaborative process of working in a group. And so most students did very well with this. And there were 3 groups actually that got bonus points, somewhere between 0 and 1 bonus points. And also there's one group that I'm encouraging them to redo theirs for an improved grade. So I think overall it went very well. I know it was a challenging assignment, and it's always a challenge to try and work within a group, but I think that people really rallied, did a great job on it, and there are a lot of concepts that are embedded in this assignment that we're going to keep touching on throughout the rest of the semester, including in informatics exercise number 3, which I think is in week 7. So that's one. The other thing I'd like to do is just thank everyone who participated in the usability study. I'm sure that Mary Colson certainly appreciates your feedback, and someday you will be in a very similar situation where you're asking people to help out with your capstone project and potentially collecting data. So it's a very nice way to sort of pay it forward. The only piece that I think might be out there, if you submitted the code at the end of the usability study itself, then you would have gotten 5 points for the assignment automatically. If you got a 0 by some chance, then you didn't follow through on the UB Learns assignment, and you do need to contact me, and we'll see if we can remediate that. It really sort of depends on what you did. So if you got a 0, please get a hold of me as soon as possible. So that's it for the orientation session to week 5. We'll be talking more about the informatics project part 1. Thanks. Bye now.